Now there was a time when America offered its children such narratives, which in effect were answers to the question, what are schools for? There was, for example, the great narrative of democracy, which the American artist Ben Shahn once called the most appealing idea that the world has yet known. Alexis de Tocqueville called it the principle of civic participation. Gunnar Myrdal encapsulated the idea in the phrase, the American Creed, which he judged to be the most explicitly articulated system of general ideals of any country in the West. The first chapter of the story opens with, in the beginning, there was a revolution. As the story unfolds, there arise sacred words, such as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Because he helped to write the story, Thomas Jefferson, the Moses of the great democracy god, knew what schools were for, to ensure that citizens would know when and how to protect their liberty. This is a man who produced an essay that could have cost him his life, and that included the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Well, it would not have come easily to the mind of such a man as it does to our political leaders today, that the young should be taught to read exclusively for the purpose of increasing their economic productivity. Jefferson had a more profound God to serve. As did Emma Lazarus, whose poem celebrates another once powerful American narrative. "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," she wrote. Where else save the great narrative of Jesus can one find a story that so ennobles the huddled masses? Here America is portrayed as the great melting pot, and such a story answers many profound questions, including, what are schools for? Schools are to fashion Americans out of the wretched refuse of teeming shores. Schools are to provide the lost and lonely with a common attachment to America's history and future, to America's sacred symbols, to its promise of freedom. The schools are, in a word, the affirmative answer to the question, can a coherent, stable, unified culture be created out of people of diverse traditions, languages, and religions? There have been, of course, other narratives that have served to give guidance and inspiration to people, and especially that have helped to give a transcendent purpose to learning. Among them is one that goes by the name of the Protestant ethic. In this narrative, it is claimed that hard work, self-restraint, and a disciplined capacity to delay gratification are the surest path toward earning God's favor, or if not that, of realizing what was once called the American dream, which, by the way, was not simply an economic aspiration, but included internalizing the full range of responsibilities and beliefs that gave America the authority to declare itself a moral light unto the world. Well, it pains me to say it, but I fear that these great American narratives are no longer as powerful as they once were. And why this is so would have to be the subject of an entirely different talk. Here it is important to say that as significant narratives have faded from view, they have been replaced by stories that are thin, crass, and certainly without transcendent meaning. As a consequence, the idea of public schooling is placed in jeopardy.